Hi, Elise here, co-author of Leadership and Management Mastery. Welcome everybody. And today we're going to talk about how to manage people and lead better. Have you ever felt frustrated with trying to teach staff a simple skill and they just don't get it? Well, listen up. Alright, so today I thought I'd talk about a topic called Maslow's stages of learning. And the benefit, the reason why I want you guys to understand this is because when you're looking at hiring new staff or bringing someone into the team, new person into the team, it really helps you understand the best way to guide them through the different stages that they're naturally going to go through. So I thought that if we start with Maslow's one, the first stage is unconscious incompetence. They don't even know what they don't know. They don't know what questions to ask because they don't even have the information. The next stage is conscious incompetence. Now they know everything they don't know. A little overwhelming. Now they're consciously competent. Okay, now they're learning the bits that they need to know, but they're doing it very consciously, which means that they're very slow at where they're at. And then they hit the final phase, which is unconscious competence. They don't even have to think about it. So let me give you an example. Totally out of business context, but it's a really good example because I think this is a very universal example. At some point, everyone learned to tie their shoe. Is that right? Have you learned to tie your shoe?
Correct.
Yes. So, at some point in your life, you didn't even know that you needed to tie your shoes. Your mum put your shoes on, your dad put your shoes on. They did everything. You didn't even know there was such a thing as a shoe and a shoelace. You just lived life. Yeah? Then there came a point where you watched your parents do it and you wanted to be able to do it, right? And you knew at that point you didn't know how to tie your shoe. Then your parents taught you or your caregiver taught you the steps that were involved. You put one over the other, you feed it through the loop, all of those things. And now you are consciously competent. You have to think about everything. If someone spoke to you while you were tying your shoelace, you wouldn't be able to tie your shoelace. Mm-hmm. And now you tie your shoelace. You don't have to think about it. You can hold a conversation with 5 other people. You just tie your shoelace and you get on with your day. Do you understand the different stages there?
So how does this relate to business and employment? So
in relation to business and employment, what you're looking at when you're hiring a staff member is at the moment. Now, I know that this isn't going to hit everyone all the time because you might hire someone who has been doing that exact job in another industry and now they're coming to you. But we're talking about a total newbie. Now they come in. At the job interview phase, they don't even know what they don't know. They don't know what the job necessarily involves. They've read what you've got in your ad. They don't know what questions to even ask to get the information. So they are an open book. They want to take in as much information as humanly possible. Then they're going to move to the next phase. So this is like you've hired them and this is their first few days on the job, right? They are consciously incompetent. They are looking around and they're going, oh my God, there is so many phases to doing this job. And I don't care what the job is, they're going to be overwhelmed. Even if it is simply collecting letters and putting them to the right person. They're going to be overwhelmed because there's just so much information to be taking in.
True.
Right? Now they're going to move to the next phase. So maybe the first 1 to 3 months of their job, they're now consciously competent. They can do it without supervision, but they're going to be slow or slower than someone who's been doing it a lot longer because they still have to think about everything. Once they've got through that phase, they're now unconsciously competent. They can do it. They don't have to think about it. They can hold a conversation with other people while they're sifting through their mail or whatever it is that they're doing. This is now the time that you would teach them the next thing. So this is now when you start to go, all right, what steps can I put into place? So when they're consciously competent at something, you want to give them clues and cues. So this is where you would have procedure manuals or pictorials on step 1, step 2, step 3, because it helps them to get faster at what it is that they're doing. Does that make sense?
So how does a person training them, a leader or a manager, know what phase they're at and what information to be able to give them?
That's a fantastic question, because one of the things that you want to think about when you are training staff is who is going to do the training. Usually the person doing the training is someone who doesn't even think about it when they do the job because they've done it for so long. They don't have to. And it's that unpicking, it's that person having to get conscious of all the steps that are involved. And if they don't do that properly, they skip steps because they don't think they need to go through it. That's when...
They're not even aware that they're doing it.
Yeah. No,
so therefore they say, I just do this, but there's a whole layer of sequencing underneath that they're not aware that they're doing.
Exactly. And so it's the person who is responsible for the teaching. They do need to understand all the steps involved. How did they get from step 1 to step 6? What were all those little tiny steps that you don't think you need to say, but you really do need to say?
And this gets drawn out, particularly if you're drawing up a procedures manual or something like that, because I've done this before.
Yeah.
And you go, well, hang on, that doesn't make sense because there's a huge big gap missing here. And I guess it helps in the process of them getting conscious.
And it's this now, you've got this dance between unconscious competence to conscious competence. And it has to become a dance for everyone to be able to grow the team. Because what you want is you can't teach them every step. You go, okay, well, what's the basics that they need to learn? Okay, so this is the first thing that someone needs to learn when they come into our organisation. Great, teach them that, give them the time to learn that. Now, bring them back to consciousness and go, okay, this is the next step. And what will happen is they will get it a lot faster because they've got all the role models around them, the other people in the organisation that they're watching and that they're modelling for greater understanding of how to do things more efficiently.
So what do we do in a situation where someone is lagging? You can see that they're not getting it. Something's going wrong. I don't know. They're getting overwhelmed, like you say.
Yeah, well, this is where it's the next step. Understanding that the conscious mind can only take in so much information. And this dates back to many years ago, a man called George Miller who created the magic number. And we're going to go into that on our next blog, so look out, there'll be a link below for that one. And that's a fantastic little bit of information just to understand the difference between how the unconscious works and how the conscious mind works, and how we have to sequence everything, and there has to be only so many chunks or else people will just get overwhelmed and they won't be able to do it. So if you've got someone lagging, you really want to understand where they're lagging, what bits of the puzzle are they missing, and then work out how to give it to them. And again, this is why everything goes back to communication. It's like, how do I communicate with that particular person? Are they taking in the information the way I want them to? Or do I have to change the way I'm communicating so that I can relate to that person better? So if you like this information and you want to find out more, visit my website, leadershipmanagementmastery.com/leader, and discover how I went from basically a high school dropout with zero confidence to a certified NLP trainer teaching CEOs and middle managers and business owners how to lead and manage their own teams.